The number one question I'm getting lately all of the time is, hey, Steve, what do you think's going to happen in the 2024 Ann Arbor real estate market? A lot of people are really interested in what's going to happen this year. So I thought, why not give the people what they want? Hence my 6 real estate predictions for 2024 for the Ann Arbor market. Now, a lot of these predictions will apply to the state and also nationwide. Now, obviously, I can't predict the future. If I could, I wouldn't be here doing YouTube videos. Although I like doing these videos, I'd be laying on the beach someplace. Anyway, these predictions are my best guesses. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. The realtors have been wrong. The mortgage brokers have been wrong. The economists are wrong. Everybody has been wrong for the most part over the past few years with their predictions. So when I give my predictions, it's a mixture of what the numbers are telling me, the conversations I've had with people that are way smarter than I am, and conversations I'm having with my clients on a daily basis. So this is for a bit of fun. This is not financial advice. By the way, my name is Steve. I run a real estate practice here in Ann Arbor. We're a boots-on-the-ground boutique practice whose number one goal is to give our clients the best service, the best experience they've ever had in their life when it comes to buying or selling a property. And if you get any value from this video, if you could do me a huge favor, if you could smack that like button, smack that subscribe button, it would help the channel out immensely, it would help me out immensely, so I thank you in advance. So, without further ado, strap in, buckle up, we have a lot to unpack here, starting right now. Prediction number 1. Interest rates. As for interest rates, I've got some good news and bad news for you. First, the good news. I believe that we're pretty much done with interest rate hikes for 2024. After reaching the 8% range back in October, they have steadily retreated. Thank goodness. The rate hikes over the last year and a half have definitely slowed the real estate market and made a small dent in the inflation rate, which was the goal for the rate hikes in the first place, so the government was telling us. Although inflation is down, it is still a problem. It's still too high, but it's come down enough where the Fed is pretty much done with additional hikes for 2024. Now, the bad news is, if you're thinking rates will be coming down to the 5% range in sometime in 2024. I hate to burst your bubble because that's probably not going to happen. We'll probably see 2 or 3 very small rate reductions this year. I predict the first one will happen sometime early to late spring, April, May, and another 1 or 2 during the early summer months, June, July-ish. And the fact that we're in an election year, the Fed doesn't want to look like it's trying to influence the election in any way. So I'm thinking all the rate cut action will pretty much end by the midsummer period. So my prediction for rates in 2024 is that they'll level out somewhere in the 6.25 to 6.50 range. Prediction number 2, inventory rates. Currently, we're sitting at a super tight 0.93 months supply of inventory. Now, what the heck does that mean to you? Well, simply put, it means we have very few homes available for sale compared to the number of buyers out there. The shortage of homes for sale has been the driving force for the rising real estate prices here in Ann Arbor, the surrounding areas, and nationwide for that matter. Over the past 12 months, we've seen a significant decrease in the month's supply of inventory with a whopping minus 43% change year over year. This means that the demand for homes in Ann Arbor has been outpacing the available supply, creating a highly competitive environment for buyers. While I don't see that changing that much in 2024, I do predict a small bump of available homes for sale happening in early spring, March, April, which are typically the busiest months for new listings here in the Ann Arbor area. The lack of inventory is primarily due to homeowners who have been unwilling to list their homes for sale, giving up their 2 to 3% mortgage rates to go into a 6+% rate on their next purchase. But some of these sellers are now feeling a little more comfortable with the possibility of selling because rates have pulled back a bit, and some sellers have to sell regardless because of things like divorce, job transfers. So there should be more homes coming on the market from the sellers who have been unwilling to put their homes on the market to this point. And depending on what happens in the new construction segment, This could help the inventory shortage or it could exacerbate it. And from what I see at this point in time, there are not a whole lot of new construction projects in the area that will be contributing to a whole lot of available homes for sale in 2024. I really don't see a lot of new homes coming online until the third, maybe fourth quarter of this year. And lastly, if history repeats itself, certain areas and neighborhoods in the Ann Arbor metro area are going to be extremely tight when it comes to available homes for sale. Neighborhoods like Burns Park, Ann Arbor Hills, the King Elementary School neighborhoods, to name a few, while other areas may have more inventory to choose from, which means the more homes on the market in any given area gives buyers a little more negotiating room versus an area that has a shortage of homes for sale. Again, if there's a shortage of homes for sale in a particular area, it's going to mean increased competition, possible bidding wars. So it all goes back to the law of supply and demand. Prediction number 3. Home value appreciation. 2023 Ann Arbor home values increased an average of 7.1%. As I mentioned, appreciation rates, like inventory rates, are dependent upon perceived desirability of the neighborhood, amenities of the area, location, of course, economic influences, and schools. And with one Ann Arbor zip code already being overvalued by a certain real estate algorithm by as much as 31%, there is not a whole lot of room for any significant rise in home values in 2024. I predict average home values in the greater Ann Arbor area will see gains similar to 2023, 4 to 6% range. And depending on the area, location, there may be some parts of Ann Arbor that might show flat, no appreciation at all, or even slight depreciation. Prediction number 4, new construction. As in 2023, this year in 2024, new construction will help supplement the inventory pipeline somewhat. In 2023, new construction made up a pretty large percentage of all the homes that sold. New construction was a great option for buyers who were having a hard time finding a suitable resale home to purchase. And some builders were offering some pretty attractive incentives to entice buyers to pull the trigger on new construction. Now, some of these incentives were interest rate buydowns, option package discounts, closing cost credits, etc. I see some or all of these incentives continuing into at least the beginning of 2024. Now, some challenges if you are a new construction buyer, depending on the type of home you want and the location, is that you may be limited in your choices. Currently, there are not a lot of new construction options available in the Ann Arbor area. Now, if you're looking to buy a condominium or townhouse property versus a single-family home property, then your choices tend to open up a bit, as there seems to be more multifamily projects coming up than single-family home developments. Also, timing can be an issue. Building new from the ground up can take 10 to 14 months or longer to complete the home versus buying a resale home where you can be moved in within 45 to 60 days. And when it comes to pricing on new construction, be prepared to break out that checkbook. Plan on paying 10 to 20 to 30% more versus purchasing an existing home. Rising cost of materials, labor, governmental fees, etc. will add to the increased cost of new construction for 2024. Prediction number 5, spring market for 2024. Typically, the spring market in Ann Arbor begins in late February and is very active with buyers and sellers coming into the market. I believe this year's spring market of 2024 will be pretty much the same as 2023, although it could be a little more subdued compared to past years. But because Ann Arbor is such a desirable place to call home, due primarily to the University of Michigan Medical Center, the university itself, all of the automotive research facilities here, and all the other high-tech industries in the area, Ann Arbor real estate will pretty much always be a pretty active market. Now, the level of activity in the spring market will be determined by interest rates and available inventory. Not a big surprise, right? There are still plenty of buyers that want to buy a home, and I think a lot of them have come to terms with the higher rates. So I think they're willing to go forward and try to find their perfect ideal home. The challenge to them is going to be lack of inventory, which has been a thorn in the buyer's side for the past 3 to 5 years or longer. This lack of inventory could potentially create bidding wars like we've seen over the past several years. I think a lot of these buyers will be again looking at new construction as an option, as long as they have the time to wait for their home to be completed, which, as I mentioned previously, could take anywhere from 10 to 12 to 14 months or longer. Again, I see a pretty active spring market running from late February to the end of June. From the end of June, early July, I think we're going to see a pretty significant slowing of the market. And the closer we get to the election, the more interesting the market will become. It's going to be kind of a wild ride, folks, especially as we get towards the end of 24. So buckle up and hold on. Prediction number 6, scary news headlines. The news headlines for the first 4 months of 2024 are going to be even more terrifying than normal. And I'll tell you why. Now, we all know they write these headlines to get clicks. That's how it works for advertising and page views, right? But what's going to happen in the first quarter for 2024 is that when reports come out for the previous year, they come out every single month by our local real estate board, national outlets. They're going to be compared year over year. And what's going to happen is that the numbers are not going to look good. So even if prices do nothing from here and just hover, it's going to look really bad on paper. But if I'm a buyer or seller, I'm looking for a month-over-month comparison trend because it's hard to compare to a year ago when last year was pretty volatile due to lack of inventory and the spiking interest rates. Also, just be very careful where you get your real estate and market information from. I personally wouldn't believe a thing that the mainstream media reports on real estate and the economy. I wouldn't even put too much stock in what the National Association of Realtors, i.e. NAR, predicts about the real estate market for 2024. Both of these outlets have agendas. NAR, of course, wants to promote the buying and selling of real estate. So, of course, they're going to say, oh, the market's rosy. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell, yada, yada, yada. And the news outlets are pushing their agenda and their political affiliations. And as you know, 2024 is going to be an election year. And the markets always get really squirrely during an election year, right? So buckle up because both parties are going to try to scare the heck out of you. They're going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars in radio and TV ads to convince you that if you vote for the other candidate, you're going to be wiped out financially, your house will be foreclosed on, your kids will be taken, on and on and on. So do yourself a favor and turn off your radio and TV. You can thank me later. And FYI, there are plenty of reputable, independent, third-party outlets available to get accurate and unbiased data on what's really happening in the real estate market and the economy in general. So feel free to call me and I'll be glad to share some of my trusted resources that I get my information from. So there you have my 2024 real estate predictions for the Ann Arbor market. If after watching the video, you would like to book a meeting directly with me to talk more in depth about the real estate market for Ann Arbor or anything else on your mind for that matter, go to the first link in the description below. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, you should probably check this one out right here. Thanks for watching. See you soon.